on your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good to say I dabbled in stand-up or something. I haven't disrespected you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean.
Hello. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Happy New Year. We can still say Happy New Year, right? Maybe another couple more days. Welcome to the Chrissie Mayr Podcast. You can listen to this show on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. I said Rumble. We're everywhere. Sorry. It's too late now. We're too much out there. Before I bring in my fabulous, wonderful guest, I have a couple of stand-up gigs to promote. Thank you to everybody who came out to San Diego this past weekend. Lila Hart and I had so much fun. Really great turnout. Good to see some familiar faces. Good to see some new faces as well. We had so much fun. So I got to start posting some clips from that show because we had some fun crowd moments. My next headlining gig is going to be almost exactly in 2 weeks from today. I'll be headlining at the Hyenas Comedy Club out there in Dallas, Thursday, January 25th. And then I'll be back in Jersey headlining in Morris Plains Saturday, February 24th at Tiff's Ale House, also known as the Dojo of Comedy. Then I'll be back in Jersey at that same venue, Saturday, March 9th. I'll be presenting an award for the Grifties, hosted by Hotep Jesus and Uncle Hotep. That'll be Saturday, March 9th. Time to be determined, probably 8 o'clock. Also at Tiff's Ale House, the Dojo of Comedy in Morris Plains, New Jersey. So get your tickets for my comedy shows at my website, ChrissieMayr.com. And if you want to get tickets for the Grifties, I think you can. There's probably a whole dedicated website for that. So I'll see you guys there. I'm very excited. I don't even know what award I'm presenting yet, but it's going to be fun. I think I presented one remotely the last year or two. So it's all good. It's all good. Okay, my guest today, I'm super excited to have her here because we touched on a little bit of CalendarGate maybe a week or so ago, but we're going to talk about that a little bit and some other issues going on. She is the president of the Tampa Bay Young Republicans. Welcome to the show, Brittany Jean.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited that you are here. How did you get involved with the Young Republicans?
Yes, so it's kind of a long, weird journey. Actually, got interested in politics when I was in college. I was at the University of Florida in 2016 when Donald Trump ran the first time. My dad took me to my first Trump rally, and that was kind of like entry into politics. And after that, when I graduated from college, I became a professional cheerleader. I was a cheerleader for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And yes, awesome. That was like a highlight of my life, probably one of the most fun things I've ever done. And I really enjoyed that. And as I was a cheerleader, I was only a cheerleader for 1 year, and then the team decided to be more family friendly, inclusive, and they got rid of the cheerleading squad and did a co-ed spirit team, which is like a whole nother topic that everyone was really mad about. But
so they thought making it co-ed would be making it more family friendly.
Yeah, apparently co-ed, and then they stopped with, which we didn't even have very revealing uniforms, right? Because it's hockey, it's cold. So we wore pants and like half shirts most of the time. And then in the Christmas time, we wore dresses that were long sleeve, fully covered.
Yeah.
But their reasoning was they wanted to make it more family friendly, which, I mean, we had young girls that would come up and we would give them our pom-poms and they would dance with us. We didn't do anything really. It wasn't even like NFL cheerleading. Like, we did sidelines and we had dances, but it was nothing inappropriate at all. And we were big fan favorites. And so when they decided to do that, now they just have girls and boys, men and women running around in t-shirts, throwing out beads and doing stuff.
The feminists ruin everything, Brittany. This is why we can't have nice things.
They really do. We were all really upset about it. But when I was a cheerleader, obviously they have rules where you can't be very involved in politics as they don't want to cause any problems for the teams, and those kinds of things. So when I was a cheerleader, I kind of stuck my foot in it and I would post some things on Twitter, Instagram. And then I got involved with Turning Point USA, and that was kind of my entree into all of things politics. And after that, I found the Tampa Bay Young Republicans, which is now the second largest Young Republicans club in the nation.
Oh,
and,
wow.
First I ran for secretary and then I ran for president, and I've been president of the club for 2 years.
Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, so it sounds like we have Dad to thank for introducing you into politics.
Yes.
That's so neat. Yeah, my dad was very much like so cynical on everything. He was kind of like anti-politics. He definitely wouldn't have brought me to a rally or anything like that. But that's really exciting. It took me longer to come around on Trump. It took me till about like 2018 to be like, oh wow, okay, the media's been lying about him. He's not that bad, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, I get that. And some people will say now that I was a never Trumper, which is completely false, because my entire family was all up for Trump as soon as he announced he was running for president in 2016. So we were there from the very beginning. Now, maybe I have some different ideas about who I want to be president, but Donald Trump, he really got my entire family involved in politics, and he brought a whole new generation, I think. And he brought a lot of people that wouldn't have been involved prior to him running in 2016 into the Republican Party. So that is something that we can obviously thank him for, and we're very appreciative of, no matter who you want to vote for nowadays.
What kind of work do you do with the Tampa Bay with the Young Republicans?
Yeah, so we are a civic nonprofit. So what we do mostly is we host monthly meetings. We meet every month at the last week of the month, Tuesday or Wednesday, at a bar in Tampa, and we invite legislators, influencers, a bunch of people, anybody really who's involved in Republican politics and wants to get their message out to young Republicans to come out and speak at our meetings. So we've had, Nick Adams, Alpha Male on Twitter. He came and he did an intoxicating masculinity event for us, which is our play on, oh, men are so toxic. We can't have toxic masculinity running our country. We're like, okay, well, we want men to show their masculinity, and we want to promote that, and we want to celebrate that. So we do that type of event once a year, and we usually have a great speaker. We do it at a cigar factory, serve whiskey. So it's like super manly. We do events like that. We have a Valentine's Day speed dating event coming up, trying to get some conservatives hooked up together in Tampa Bay. We do a lot of really fun events like that. We have a yacht party that we do around the 4th of July.
Ooh.
So we're trying to really engage young voters and get people involved in the Tampa Bay area. And it's not all fun and games, right? So we do a ton of volunteering. We are grassroots activists during election season. We are on the ground, door knocking, working on campaigns, trying to get young people elected. We just had a few members actually get elected in Tampa for things like city council, county commission, and we're working on a few more this next election cycle. So it's a lot of fun and it's a lot of hard work.
And how does this work with your work with the Leadership Institute?
Right. So I work at the Leadership Institute. So the Tampa Bay Young Republicans is a hobby, right? It's unpaid. It is my passion project, and I love every single minute of it. And then for my job, I'm actually an attorney. I graduated from law school in May and passed the bar this past summer. And so
Wow.
now I work for the Leadership Institute, which is a 501c3. It is nonpartisan, not affiliated with any type of political party or political candidate. And we personally, what I do here is we help to train school board candidates and school board members on how to govern conservatively, how to run for school board and win as a conservative, and how to approach your school board and make changes in your education system as a concerned parent, which is super helpful. You know, we saw in 2020 and 2021 with COVID how much power school boards had and how much they affect our lives when nobody really paid that much attention to them before. So now you're seeing moms and dads across the country rise up and want to take control of their child's education, and we're here to train them on how to do that.
Do you think the lockdowns and also like institutions like what you work with the Leadership Institute have helped to sort of release the kind of leftist stronghold on school boards, across the nation? Do you feel like you guys have made a dent?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You're seeing school boards flip all over the country. And it's hard because it's a low race on the ballot, right? You have to go all the way down the ballot and you get to the school board races. In a lot of states, they're nonpartisan. So it's not just like a voter can go in and say, oh, I'm going to vote R all the way down, or I'm going to vote D all the way down. Once you get to that school board race in a lot of states, it doesn't say if they're a Republican or a Democrat. So you really have to do your research. You have to have recognized the names. You have to know who they are. And that makes it a lot more complicated for these candidates because they are such low budget races. So they're not out here raising $1 million. You know, a lot of school board candidates are lucky if they raise $10,000, and they have to get that name ID and that name recognition out there. And so the Leadership Institute has great resources for anybody that wants to do any type of campaign. Really, they have the Campaign Leadership College, which takes you from point A to point B, how to get through an entire campaign. And then our program here, the School Board Leaders Program, really goes full in from campaigning, activism, and then once you're elected, how to govern on a school board.
I feel like from the few politicians I've talked to, it seems like raising money is the biggest hurdle.
Oh no,
Would you
did I?
say? Oh, can you hear me? I can see you. Are you still there, Brittany?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh, I glitched. I've talked to a few folks who have
Yes.
run for office, for different
Oh, no.
Senate seats. Oh no, you not hear? You can't hear me? Try maybe leaving and coming back in. I can see you. I can hear you. Okay. Brittany.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening.
I don't either. Do you
Oh,
think
there you go.
raising
You're
money?
not frozen anymore.
Do you think raising money is the biggest hurdle for these school board candidates?
Yes, fundraising it's extremely difficult when it comes to these down ballot races. Like I said, people are always paying attention to the top races and they don't really want to pay that much attention to the down ballot races. And they don't have the PACs, they don't have all of the support. It makes it a lot harder to raise the money. And so what we do is we teach them how to go as far as they can with the little bit amount of money that they have, because you don't need $1 million to run for school board. You know, you can be very effective with $10,000, $20,000. You just have to know how to utilize it.
Where does I saw a question in the chat. Where does most of the money get spent for these school board races?
Right. So for school board races, it's usually spent on just getting your name ID out there, right? So you're doing door knocking, you have flyers, you're spending so much time in the community, whereas like a presidential candidate or even a candidate for senator or Congress, they don't have to spend as much time on the ground, door knocking, like boots to the ground as the individual candidate, right? They can afford to pay people to go out there and do those things for them. As school board candidates, you can't really afford to pay someone else to go do that stuff for you. So you're printing out your own flyers, and then you're the one door knocking. You're the one out there doing that, and you have to utilize volunteers. So you're spending most of that money comes in with like, oh, I need to print out my stuff so that I can hand it out, or I need to be able to pay my booth fee, $50 or whatever it is, to attend this event so that I can meet voters. And that's typically where the money for school board candidates are spent.
Okay. I would think like, okay, the school boards are typically, I would say they're mostly kind of liberal or leftist. So if you're kind of helping somebody with a school board candidate race, is one of the angles to sort of not be so forward about your political affiliation, or to like, not that someone should have to hide how they feel or what their opinions are, but I imagine like you're going more kind of into the lion's den a bit. Do you have to tread a little bit lightly on certain, I guess, conservative topics?
Right. And I think that really depends on which area you're running in. So right here, based in Tampa Bay, we saw the candidates that were elected were the ones that really leaned into the conservative principles. Like, oh, we're not going to push mask mandates. We are going to support school choice. We're going to support parental rights in education. And so here in Florida, especially, being the leading state when it comes to a lot of these educational topics that we're seeing throughout the country, you wanted to lean into those conservative principles. You wanted to lean in and say, oh, I agree with Governor DeSantis. We're not going to push mask mandates. Our schools need to be open. And I'm not going to let a school board shut down the schools for anything else, going forward. If you're in a state like Washington, Oregon, California, there might be some pause when it comes to those things. Not particularly mask mandates and school closures. You're seeing that across the country. Even more liberal candidates are saying, like, I would not make your children wear masks. I would not do a vaccine mandate. I would not close schools. So those types of things you're seeing, all across the country. That's a pretty even way to lean in. But when it comes to other things, maybe depending on which area you're in, you would want to pull back a little bit, or maybe not push something so hard. But I mean, as conservatives, we need to show people who we are. We need to run on our principles. And if we can't run on our principles, then we need to just try again, right? Because that's what we're seeing in our government right now is you have these soft conservative, soft Republicans that say one thing to get elected, and then they go in and they're not really representing us. Right. So we don't encourage people to do that. We want you to get elected, but you need to run on your principles. You need to run on what you're actually going to do. You can't just lie to the voters.
Now, this is like news as of last night. This, I imagine, and I'm living in New York right now. I imagine this is the sort of thing that would never happen in Florida. This is from out of the Post. New York City students forced to go remote as the city houses nearly 2,000 migrants at their school. And one mom goes off, doesn't feel good. I think here's a little bit of footage from a bus pulling in. How do you feel? How does it feel?
This is so crazy.
Out there in her coat. I would be pissed too. I wonder what time of night this is that they're getting everybody out.
I'm pretty sure it was like late.
This is the James Madison High School. I know it's in Brooklyn.
I hope you feel good. I hope you'll sleep really well tonight.
She needs a megaphone.
I have a right to. That's why. That's why. Because I'm an aggravated mother. That's why.
I wonder if her kids go to. She probably just lives in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? It's obviously dark, so it has to be kind of late. And then they're going to call all these parents and tell them, oh, yeah, by the way, your kids can't come to school tomorrow because we're housing illegal immigrants in our school. Like, what is, and from what I've heard, this is kind of a low income school. It's not in the wealthiest area. So these parents, they probably had to go to work. So, and I know it's a high school, but what are you supposed to do with your children all day if you have to go to work and they're literally telling you in the middle of the night that, okay, your kids have to stay home tomorrow? I mean, the whole thing is, we in this country, we are now putting illegal immigrants before our children. And I'm a new mom. I have an 8-month-old son, and it really, really gets to me because I'm like, what kind of country is he going to grow up in where nobody is prioritizing the future, like our children, the future of this country? They're just bringing in a bunch of other people to basically say, oh, they're more important than us. Like, oh, they had such a hard life. There are people in the United States that had a hard life, that were born here, that are citizens, whose parents pay taxes, whose grandparents pay taxes, and we can't take care of them, but we're going to take care of, hundreds of thousands, millions of illegal immigrants that don't belong here.
Yeah, or like our veterans, or trying to address like the huge mental illness epidemic in our own country. It's just,
Right.
and I wouldn't leave a high schooler at home alone all day. I mean, like, you just don't.
Yeah, I mean, and they're talking about the fentanyl crisis and, like you said, mental health issues, and like, okay, sorry, your kids just have to stay home again, even though they were locked out from COVID, and
Mhm.
then now we're dealing with all of these other issues, like these poor children. Like, what? How do we expect our country to move forward? How do we expect people to go into getting jobs and being successful if they can't even have a normal high school career because they have to stop going to school so that illegal immigrants can be accommodated? It's actually like out of this world. When you read some of the headlines, you think we live in a circus. Like,
Yeah. And like, what if they don't want to leave the gym? What if they post up? Like, what if these people physically can't be moved out? Is it going to be the rest of the week? Is it going to be like, what is to stop? If they can do this for one night and it's fine, when does it end? So apparently they made this move. The city made this move. There was a migrant, I guess, a migrant tent at the Floyd Bennett Field that they said would collapse from the rains and the winds. But it's like, well, then don't make a structure for the illegals that can't handle wind and rain.
right.
I mean,
And like you said, like, what about the homeless population? New York City has a huge homeless population, and those people are just left on the street to endure the weather, and nobody's doing anything to help them. But we have to take this whole group of people and put them somewhere with shelter. Like, it's just the entire premise of how we treat these illegals, people who come to our country breaking the law to begin with, and they get treated better than, every other person in society.
They do. Yeah. One local resident named Rob said this is effed up. It's a litmus test. They are using a storm, a legitimate situation, where they're testing this out. I guarantee you they'll be here for the entire summer. There's 1,900 people getting thrown into my neighborhood, half a block from where I live, and I don't know who they are, he said. They're not vetted. Like you said, a lot of them have criminal records and backgrounds, and we don't even know. I mean, this is one of the few clips I've seen of the illegals that there's actually women and children. Most of the clips I've been seeing have been military-age men with no families. And there have been reports. God, I think I was talking to Anna Perez, who's been to the border recently, and she said there's many counts of like men, just sort of single men, and being like, oh, coming with like 40 children in their stead. And it's like, yeah, there's no way those are your kids. Like all signs point to trafficking in a lot of these instances. And this woman is definitely within her rights to be pissed and be out there and filming.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I mean, thank goodness I live in Florida. I don't have to deal with this type of issue happening here because, the governor won't let that happen here. But I can only imagine how these people feel.
And also, like, how are they going to get in? Yeah, I mean, like, I guess all these chairs, I don't know if they set up beds for these migrants. Like, how can it be better than where they were at? And again, it's like they're taking so much of our tax dollars for these migrants. It's like, you're not even going to build a structure that can handle wind and rain.
I mean, if we get another storm like this, which I'm sure we will, they're going to have to do the exact same thing over.
Right. What about when it snows? What about if it's like, this is supposed to be our third winter of death? So
yeah, exactly.
And who knows if these migrants are vaccinated? Probably not. No one's checking and no one cares anymore.
Probably not even vaccinated for COVID, but like vaccinated for anything.
Yeah.
So
a local man said, how do you feel stealing American tax money? I love these people on the street yelling, like there should be more. The school announced online earlier in the day that classes would be held remotely on Wednesday due to the activation of James Madison High School as a temporary overnight respite center for migrants. The decision to clear the migrants out of the field came as city officials feared for the safety of the tent city. They thought the winds would get up to 70 miles an hour. Well, let's see. I'm up in Westchester, but it didn't feel that windy last night, but who knows? To be clear, this relocation is a proactive measure being taken out of an abundance of caution to ensure the safety and well-being of individuals working and living at the center. The families are already in the process of being temporarily relocated and will continue to be provided with essential services and support. Yeah, it's really aggravating. It's like we're not even doing this for our own citizens.
No, exactly.
Let's see. They sent us an email at 6 a.m. I don't know when we'll be able to go back. What I want to know is why here? Why not send them somewhere the students won't be disrupted, where the students' learning won't be disrupted? The migrant move began shortly after 5 p.m. More than 24 school buses lined up at the field for the short drive to the school. It wasn't the first time extreme weather has been an issue at the 2,000-bed facility, which took a pounding last month with heavy rain and gusting. Yeah, and it's not going to stop. This is the beginning of January.
Exactly. And then what about this summer when it's hot? Oh, it's going to be too hot for the illegals, to be outside. I'm like, it's never going to end.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. The first migrants were moved to the abandoned Brooklyn airfield in November after Governor Kathy Hochul negotiated with the White House for access to the site to erect a tent city. Critics worried about the remote location. Yeah, because folks were thinking that they were putting these tents like way out in kind of like deep Brooklyn as a kind of sign to be like, hey, it's not going to be much better here than in the country you came from. Maybe go back. Maybe don't stay here. But I guess they didn't get the hint.
Yep. None of them are getting the hint because they just keep coming.
Let's see. I warned the administration that something like this would happen from day one, and they refused to listen. Councilwoman Joanne Ariola told the Post on Tuesday, Floyd Bennett Field is entirely unsuitable for a tent complex, and how we are wasting taxpayer dollars to evacuate nearly 2,000 people when they should have been placed somewhere like the Park Slope Armory. This did not take a fortune teller to predict. It's common sense. Nearly 70,000 migrants remain in the city's care from among the 162,000 who have arrived in the 5 boroughs from the U.S. border since the spring of 2022. The city also erected migrant tents at Randall's Island in Manhattan and the former Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens, but said Tuesday those sites are less exposed and not considered vulnerable to extreme weather. Yikes. I think more migrants came in. There was like several months that they could pick out from last year where more migrants came in than babies were born in this country.
Oh my gosh. No, we're going to lose our country because they won't close the borders. And I know like there are Republicans everywhere talking left, right, and center. Oh, we got to close the borders. We got to close the borders. Okay, well, I'm sick of everyone just talking about it. And I know it's not easy to get things done, but we've got to actually start getting things done. I know, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is out here saying, I'm not going to vote for the budget until they close the borders. Like, good for her. We need more firebrands like that in Congress because they have to do something. We're all watching this unfold and hearing everyone talk about it, but nobody's actually taking action. So it's nice to hear some of the younger members of Congress saying, listen, I'm going to hold up this vote until we do something, because that's what it's going to take to get anything done nowadays.
My friend Fealty lives in Brooklyn. I don't know how close he is to where this is all going on. But he says migrants are knocking on home doors, asking for money from what I hear from friends. Whoo!
I wouldn't open my door. I would be scared.
What have they been right? Like, you want to be angry at someone, but you're like, well, what have they been promised? What have they been told? They show up, they get all the free shit, they get tickets to anywhere, and they just think, wow, this is great. I guess we can just knock on doors asking random people for money. Even Elon Musk says extremely concerning given that the recent massive influx of illegal immigrants exceeds babies born in the United States. And you know what? Elon Musk is doing his part. He's having 10, 12, 15 babies, all different baby moms. He can't do it all. Nick Cannon, he's doing his part too.
Yes. People hate on them because they have so many different kids with different moms. But I'm like, come on, someone's got to have kids. People my age, they're not having kids anymore. So
someone's got to do it. And here we go. This is from Libs of TikTok, because Elon had tweeted out, this is what happens when you run out of hotel rooms, because we know from over the summer, really, and even before that, the illegals were taking over so many of the hotels in New York City, and it was, tourism was taking a dive as a result. And so he says, this is what happens when you run out of hotel rooms. Soon cities will run out of schools to vacate. Then they will come for your homes. And then here's Libs of TikTok with an article. And she's saying it's already happening. Governor Healy asks residents to house migrant families amid growing shelter crisis. That's bold.
Yeah, like, could you imagine? They haven't been vetted by the U.S. government, and now they're going to ask you, oh, you have a spare bedroom? Let's let these illegal criminals, whoever, live in your house with your kids, with your wife. Like, absolutely not.
Right. And you know what? Like, even if it's like, okay, a mom with her kid, it's like we don't even know if these are the kids that belong to these adults. And
right.
How do you even vet this?
Anything, like, they could be the most upstanding citizen of society, right? But we don't know that. And I'm not just going to let a stranger come. There are people that I know that I wouldn't let come live with me. Mm-hmm. So like, why do they expect that we're just going to let these people from other countries who probably don't even speak English, don't know our culture, don't want to assimilate into our culture, just come live in our house with, like,
what happens? What happens if they murder you, or they take your shit, or they die in your house?
Or they get injured and they try to sue you. They become squatters. Like you're saying, mm-hmm. That's an issue right now with people that are renting out their houses. So what if you invite these illegals into your house to be nice, and then they just never leave?
Yeah, and Taylor Swift is not using her New York City apartment to put up illegals.
No, they just expect the nice, hardworking, middle-class taxpayers to rectify the problems that the government is making. That's what they always expect. And I think hopefully you're going to see a pushback start to happen.
Yeah, it's like, look, my parents didn't house an exchange student for a reason. They're like, nah, we're good.
Exactly. My parents never did it either.
Okay, this is a question from the chat from Jack. How can I find out about my local school board candidates?
So typically when they file to run, it'll be on your election, like county election website. And then you can just, it can be very difficult, actually. It can be difficult for somebody who knows a lot about it, how to find them. So you definitely want to check on the county website, because if they filed for election, then the information, the filing will be there. And then the easiest thing to do is to go to your local group. So like you could go to the Republican Party in the group and ask them, hey, which school board candidates are more conservative that we should support, or go to the liberal group and say, hey, what school board candidates are you supporting? And then support the opposite ones. That works as well. And just, you have to look for it. It's not something that is typically very easy to find, unfortunately.
Okay, good. Here's another good comment from Dracos. That's how Soros got so much influence. He started buying these small elections versus putting money into the big races. He had a lot more impact on the culture. Oh, yes, he did, and still does. He's a very elusive figure. Deranged Lunatic says, so are the illegals going to run like Hunter Biden? I mean, they don't have as much money behind them.
Yes,
they're not going to be.
He still does.
They're not going to be put into a cushy job like Hunter. I was just seeing like what happened where he showed up on Capitol Hill. I don't understand why. Okay, I am going to pull this up because we have not seen much from Hunter at all. I think he's been pretty much, I don't know, hiding since it seems they've been putting more pressure.
Right, and they're asking him, like, are you on crack cocaine today?
Hunter Biden storms out of a House hearing after showing up unexpectedly and chaotic.
Yeah, where's Hunter? It still applies. It still applies today. Where's Hunter?
Maybe he came back looking for his drugs that he left at the White House. Now you see him, now you don't. Hunter made a surprise and brief appearance Wednesday at the House Oversight Committee hearing where members were debating a resolution holding him in contempt of Congress. The first son, 53, but he looks about 65, showed up with his lawyer, Abby Lowell, and sugar brother, Kevin Morris, and sat in the front row of the hearing room, causing an uproar. Why would he come to this? Among the panel's Republicans, and he left about 10 minutes later. Nancy Morris tore into Hunter during the remarks, calling him the epitome of white privilege. My first question is, who bribed Hunter to be here today? You are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls. Mays added, I think Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. He stood up and left the room before Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke. Oh, yeah, that would have been a mistake to stay and listen for that. Tearing into the first son as a coward, and was trailed by reporters and political operatives in the hallways of the Rayburn House office building. The president's son did take at least one question about his dad's role in his foreign dealings when asked why he put Joe Biden on speakerphone during approximately 20 business meetings Hunter held during his dad's vice presidency. If he called you, would you answer that phone? Replied the first son, whose former partner Devin Archer testified in July that Hunter often used these calls to impress foreign associates. Of course he did. It's obvious. Oh, yeah. Okay. So an heckling anti-Biden operative could be heard asking repeatedly, Hunter, what's your favorite kind of crack? Are you on crack today? That's great. I think there should be more of this.
Yeah, it's entertaining for sure.
The younger Biden skipped a scheduled December 13 deposition by claiming he would prefer to testify before the world, thereby presenting opportunities for the oversight panel, many eccentric members, to filibuster on his behalf. Okay, so he's being sketchy. Wow, let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind doors, said Jasmine Crockett, because you all lie. That's the bottom line. It's a circus. Why are we here? Well, we can't go after Joe Biden. He's clean. Let's go after Hunter Biden. Let's go get him. Yeah, I'm sure Joe's real clean. It's not about Hunter Biden's white privilege. It's about Hunter Biden's Democrat privilege, because Donald Trump Jr. showed up for 5 congressional subpoenas. That there was never this circus, said Byron Donalds of Florida. This kind of food fight, this kind of circus that we've experienced is the reason why they want to have a deposition. In a deposition, you don't get people distracting the American public with all these other topics. Yikes. I think they're just going to drag this on, and they're going to drag out Trump for as long as they possibly can.
Oh yeah, they're going to make it go into the election just to make it a circus. I mean, Democrats don't take our elections seriously. We've seen that in the way that they count the votes and the way that they just run everything in general. So they want it to be a circus too, so that when it happens, then everyone's like, oh my goodness, what happened? Mm-hmm. They can't prove that anything, weird happened, because it's so crazy.
Yes, definitely. Dreams Lunatic says, how about a minefield on our side of the border? Yeah. Oh boy, a girl can dream. They're obviously very much complicit. All of the guards, anyone it's really frustrating. Like, I kind of want to go down to the border, see what's up.
You should see it for yourself.
Yeah. But that would never, that's why people have been flocking to Florida.
Yes, I will say I love Florida. I never ever plan on leaving, but my goodness, the traffic, especially right now, right? It's the snowbird season makes it even worse, but there are a lot of people here now. And in the past 4 years, they just keep coming and coming and coming, which I am not complaining about. Our economy is booming. Our club, we have over 500 members now in our club, when we've seen the club double in size over the past couple of years. But yeah, I mean, they got to learn how to drive faster and stay out of the left lane if they're going to move here.
So, Brittany, have you been getting recognized for your famous appearance in the Conservative Dad's calendar?
Yes, actually got a lot of Twitter followers during CalendarGate. So that was really exciting.
How did that all come about? How were you scooped up for that project?
Yes. So Seth Weathers has been incredible. He's been so supportive of the Young Republicans and of me personally. Back when he had his other company, Bring Ammo, and they made all kinds of hilarious T-shirts. He would always send them to me, and I would wear them, promote them on social media. So when he was doing this calendar, he was like, "Oh, I really want to bring in strong conservative women in the movement, and I'd love to have you in it." And I was like, okay, great. And I was a little concerned because I was like 5 months postpartum. I was like, oh, I don't know about
What?
this.
You look great. Are you
Yes,
kidding me?
Thank
I
you.
never, ever would have guessed. See, you and Michaela Peterson give me so much hope because you look snatched like right out the gate, right
Thank
post-birth.
you. Yeah, so I was like, because I am the type of girl, had that not been the situation, I would have been in the same bikini that Riley Gaines was wearing. Like everyone who has a problem with that, I was like, please don't go find my Instagram because you'll see a ton of bikini photos of me. That's just, I live in Florida. I live by the beach. That's what we do. So the people who said it's demonic. I mean, we're fighting a culture war here. And I get that, there's conservative Christians that are pushing this, this very, very religious, very traditional values, and that's what they're promoting, which is great. I'm a Christian, I'm a wife, I'm a mother. Obviously, I fall into that category. Do a lot of, I believe that you should respect your husband and I believe in all of that. And I wouldn't have done it had my husband not been like, oh my God, that's a great idea, go do it. And when I showed him the photos, he was like, oh my gosh, like this is so great. He has it hanging up on his wall. And we have to fight the culture war. You have Dylan Mulvaney out here on the left, right? Like doing all these things, getting all this attention. And then Republicans who are trying to be like, oh, we're going to make our own beer company, our own beer calendar, and try to become popular, try to get more people to see the conservative brand. They're just fighting with us, infighting in the Republican Party over something that's as trivial as a calendar. I mean, this is why Republicans aren't winning. This is why our messaging is not taking over, because we can't even keep it cohesive within our own group.
What do you think of the idea that, well, this calendar was made specifically so that men would lust over, or married men would be lusting over other men's wives, or married men would be lusting over other women, and that
I think
it's
it's
a sin.
crazy. I mean, like, do these people not go out in public? I mean, if you go to Target or Walmart or Starbucks, right, you're going to see a girl in leggings and a sports bra, or short shorts and a crop top, a mini skirt. That's how people dress in America today. If you are so concerned about not lusting over someone else, you literally can't leave your house, right? So, I mean, it's a bunch of women. We all had kind of creative control over what we were going to do, what we were going to. Even like Seth and his company, they didn't make this for that reason. He even told me that I could bring my son and have my son in the photo with me if I really wanted to, which obviously I didn't do. So it's just, the whole thing is crazy. Like, we're women. We wanted to wear what we were wearing and just go on and take some cute photos and have it in a calendar. And like Riley Gaines in a bikini, she's a professional swimmer. She looks amazing. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and there's a difference between like, you know what I mean? Like I guess as a woman, like you notice poses and like intent behind poses like this. Even Riley in a bikini, like this is a very tame pose. Like, I know you can see skin, but it's like she's not God, it could be so much worse. My goodness. And like this is
Right. She's just
like
laying down. It's not like she's trying to be seductive. Right. It's not
I think Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's not a Victoria's Secret catalog. I mean, you can tell the difference.
This was a tweet from, let's see, Allie Beth Stuckey, who I know she's got a show on the Blaze. I'm going to scoot over to her tweet. But again, like, not every Christian is a Christian conservative. Not every conservative is Christian. And there's there's shades of gray in all of this. Let's see. Let me pull this up. This is from Allie Beth Stuckey. Okay, you can probably guess what I think of: a calendar branded for conservative dads. And that's, I think, what people got confused about. The brand is conservative dad, but I don't think it was meant for just conservative dads to buy. I'm sure plenty of women bought these calendars. I'm sure liberal dudes bought these calendars. Pictures filled with women, many of whom are married,
Yeah.
and many of them very scantily clad.
Right.
Hate it.
And just because the name of the company is
Okay, wait, sorry. Go ahead, Brittany. Oh no, you froze. Okay.
I
Hate
mean,
it.
just because the company is named Conservative Dads Ultra Right Beard, that doesn't even mean that the calendar was marketed towards conservative dads, right? It was just marketed towards conservatives, I think, in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. She says, hate it. I also find the discourse ridiculous, as if we're all supposed to pretend we don't understand the purpose of a calendar of posed full body pictures of women. You can call me a prude, puritanical, or jealous of these women's beauty, whatever makes you feel better. I just don't see the value in marketing what's basically, in some photos, soft porn to married or unmarried men. Of course, these women are gorgeous. And of course, I'm all for celebrating true femininity in the age that can't define woman. But in my view, this doesn't accomplish that at all. Not trying to cause drama with the participants, some of whom I think are doing great, courageous work. And I'm aware that there may be bigger battles to fight than this, but I happen to know that there are many Christian conservatives who share the same perspective between the scenes, and I wanted to give them a voice. The polarization between Christian and secular conservatism is only going to grow. So, my friend, so buckle up. There's just oh no, I lost Brittany. Maybe she'll come back. I hope she comes back. Or maybe she just was having a horrible time. Elijah says, I think what's more shocking is a conservative product that isn't full of minorities and LGBTQ at the forefront. I'm so accustomed to our party preferring to platform these groups as tokens. White women is conservative for the most progressive conservative party in history. Yeah, lots of memes. She's back. Hello, Brittany. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Hello, Brittany. Are you there? Oh no, there's a lag. Brittany, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh no, Brittany. Oh shiz. I'm not sure what's going on with Brittany. Brittany, maybe try leaving and coming back.
No. Okay.
Oh, I can hear you now. Okay, let's see. So Megyn Kelly even ripped on the backlash over the calendar. She referred to it really as like more of a pinup calendar, which I agree with. She says conservatives can be saucy. The controversy erupted. Yes, because the point was he was making an alternative. Seth Weathers was making an alternative to the Dylan Mulvaney endorsed Bud Light, started selling the conservative dads, Real Women of America. I think he was just trying to harken back to kind of almost like old school beer ads, show a slice of Americana. The good old days. And I think there's just two kind of separate struggles going on. There's the Christian conservative side of it, and then there's also conservatives need to be able to participate and create culture. They need to participate. They need to step it up in terms of being in the arts. And that includes something like making a calendar. People can critique the Daily Wire all they want, but they are trying to dip their toe into comedy, into films. Hi, Brittany. Can you hear me? Brittany.
Hi. Is it working
Hi.
now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Okay, so I was just saying even Megyn Kelly thinks
Yes.
the backlash is a bit
Sorry,
overblown.
I'm not sure what's going on. I'm even like into the Ethernet. So
I don't know. Maybe we're being targeted. But the point is that I want to be able to get into a bathing suit this quickly after giving birth. That's the whole point. Kelly lamented the criticism, saying, "Why do conservatives have to be all stuffy and like not sexy?" Some conservatives online voiced their displeasure at the calendar. One commenter wrote on X, "Everyone involved in this marketing disaster should be Bud Lighted immediately." Ooh. Oh, that was from Peachy Keenan. I mean, and here's just Dana Loesch with guns. Nothing crazy. No skin at all being shown. Okay, Brittany's having a little bit of troubles. Okay, maybe it's the curse of CalendarGate. Okay, I'm gonna get to these semi-irrelevant super chats. Push-ups. Wait, so you're an elephant that sounds like a rhino? Gee, thank you. Push-ups. How far are you guys from Tar Pond Springs? That's a good question. Push-ups. Any pregnancy advice? Why are you looking to get pregnant? Push-ups. My advice is just lay there and pray. Yes. The left is attacking our games, comics, and films with ugly chicks that are built like dudes, and the right wants girls to pretend like they're not hot. Lame. Yeah, that's a good point. I think not everyone is a Christian conservative. Not everyone wants to be covered head to toe. And you can participate in the culture in creating things without necessarily that it means that you're tempting someone to lust away from their wife or their spouse. Yes, just lay there. There's nothing to it. Feminism does destroy everything. Florida has the worst internet, so we're blaming the Florida internet. Oh, they are attacking everything conservative because that's what they are good at. I think it's definitely an easy. I mean, technically, you can say yes. Technically, should a conservative Christian person be showing skin? I guess technically not, but we see plenty of Christian conservatives wearing bathing suits and bikinis. I would hardly consider it soft core prawn, though. Yes, guys. Okay, we're gonna wait for Brittany to pop back in. She was cutting out a little bit, but she's an absolute delight, and I'm just a big fan of hers. And I'm a little jealous that she's in Florida with the nice weather, and she doesn't have illegals flooding into the local high school. Okay. Okay, this I want whenever Brittany comes back, but I'll get into this and get her take whenever she scoots back in. This I found particularly egregious, and this was from a couple weeks ago. Virginia County. This is on the topic of school boards. Virginia County School Board member sworn in on stack of LGBTQ books featuring graphic content. Multiple books in the stack, such as Flamer and Gender Queer, include controversial sexual content that was restricted in other districts. Democrat Carl Frisch was sworn in for his second term on the Fairfax County School Board with a stack of books banned, and by banned, they mean they can all be easily purchased through Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They're at stores. Banned in other school systems for sexually controversial content. He was sworn in on a stack of the 5 LGBTQ-themed books most frequently banned by other school systems. Frisch's campaign website instead of the Bible, which I think is what people are normally sworn in on. Currently, the board's vice chair, Frisch, becomes its chair on January 1st. He is the first. Oh, he himself is an LGBT. Okay, he's an alphabet gang guy. He's the first elected to local office in Virginia. So they're literally replacing basically rainbow reading material with religious texts. You're replacing one religion for another. He's one of only 4 openly LGBTQ school board members in the Commonwealth out of roughly 800 members. Frisch's male partner held the stack of books that he was sworn in. The books included All Boys Aren't Blue, Gender Queer, Flamer, Lawn Boy, and the Perks of Being a Wallflower. Wow. A local liberal blog, Blue Virginia, reported on the story, and the video can be found on the Fairfax County Public Schools YouTube page. Multiple books such as Flamer and Genderqueer include controversial sexual imagery or material that has caused them to be restricted by other school districts. Flamer, written by award-winning author and artist Mike Curato, released in 2020, Curato's work is a semi-autobiographical graphic novel set in 1995. It tells the story of a character who was bullied at a Boy Scout summer camp for acting in a manner considered stereotypical of gay men. The graphic novel includes characteristics discussing prawn. Wow. A lot of adult topics, basically. All of this. And an illustration that depicts teenage boys without clothes. Unbelievable. This is disgusting and should not be in schools. It's like if you're an adult and you want to read this stuff, go for it. The book courted controversy across the country, making the American Library Association's list as one of the most banned books of 2022. The book has reportedly been challenged in at least 62 schools for its LGBTQ content. You know what they do? They go, oh, it's because you hate the gays. You're not being inclusive. You're not being accepting. It's like, no. This is like sexually too far advanced for this group of kids. It is not about gay, straight, or whatever. I think folks would have the same problem if this material was coming from like a straight perspective, but all these topics were still being discussed. But that's what the left likes to do. They need to make everything about equity, inclusion, diversity, victimization, instead of like, no, this is just straight up inappropriate. This is too advanced. This is too adult. We see your tactics. Similarly, Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe has courted major controversy among America's parents for being in public school libraries throughout the U.S. and has been challenged for its depictions and descriptions of oral as well as, same thing, way too advanced. I'm sorry, kids don't need to be reading about this in school. The book also discusses Kobabe's journey of self-discovery towards identifying outside the gender binary. Yuck. Frisch's ceremony appears to follow a possible trend of officials being sworn in on sexually explicit books. So this is your new religion. This is what you're basically saying. You're treating it like a religious text. A new Pennsylvania school board president was sworn into her position early December with her hand on a stack of controversial books, including Flamer and All Boys Aren't Blue. So this is a trend. Karen Smith, a Democrat who was reelected to the school board on November 7th, was sworn in on December 4th as the new Central Bucks School Board president after a vote by the board. As Smith walked up to the podium to be sworn in, her husband followed her with a stack of books. This comes just 2 months after Fairfax County Country School Board, maybe they meant county, school board faced another scandal when a pro-Palestinian board member opposed honoring the victims of the Hamas terror attacks. Yikes. During the meeting, Abrar Omish rebuked the board for their sneak attack of inserting a moment of silence for victims. Oh, yeah, we hate a moment of silence. Wow. For victims of the surprise terrorist attack and Israel's ensuing war against Hamas into the meeting's agenda. She also criticized members for using language in the brief commemoration that didn't represent all children. Yeah, children don't have political opinions yet. She noted that she had sought a statement that represented everybody's views. She means her views, implying frustration that the statement did not speak to the Palestinian struggle in any way. This is why we can't have nice things. I love the comments in the post. Oh, this is Fox News. It's time to eliminate public schools and start over. Increased federal oversight and progressive curriculum have plummeted American students' performance to the bottom of the industrialized world while consuming more tax dollars per student than anywhere else. The unions and educators have morphed from being concerned about a child's education and have become activists in grooming and indoctrinating children, and people wonder why we keep slipping in ranks in terms of education. The left isn't concerned about being at the bottom. The primary concern is DEI. And we see this in other industries as well, other areas, as being as irrational and obnoxious as possible. To them, trying to be successful is probably more of a white thing. They're fit for a mental asylum and should not be in positions of power. There's kids who could probably run things better and more rationally than what they do. Woo! It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. I wonder if this is a result of an overwhelming support in the community for this type of person to be in charge of molding their children, or is it due to the majority not caring to vote? I think it's the second one. Either way, it's disturbing. There are consequences to actions, and there are consequences to sitting back and doing nothing. The overwhelming number of parents in the Fairfax County, Virginia, are permanent swamp creatures in the federal bureaucracy. Does that shed light on the situation? Ooh, that makes sense. Yeah. I suspect it's both lazy voters and parents who don't care and left-wing lunatics and perverts who want to force their ideology in society. Exactly. It's just gonna inspire more participation in the process, in voting, in running, which is why what Brittany Jean does is so great with her work with the Leadership Institute to helping to drain future school board candidates. And maybe her internet has failed her, but I'm so glad she got to come on and chat. I'm going to have her back. In the meantime, guys, follow Brittany Jean. Her Instagram is the Brittany Jean, BrittanyJean, and her Twitter is the Brittany G, TheBrittanyJea. And like I said earlier, come see me in Dallas in 2 weeks. I'll be at the Dallas Hyenas Thursday, January 25th with Lila Hart and Keanu Thompson, my two best funny gal pals. And then I'll be in Morris Plains, New Jersey, Saturday, February 24th. That's in Jersey. And then I'll be presenting an award at the Grifties Saturday, March 9th, also at the Dojo of Comedy, aka Tiff's Ale House in Morris Plains, New Jersey. For tickets to my shows, go to ChrissieMayr.com. And yeah, we'll see. And then I can't fly anymore. And then I'll be doing mostly local stuff until the bean is born. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and for your questions and comments. Appreciate you as always. And we will see you next time. Bye.